Hello, welcome back to my channel. Welcome to what is usually 20 over 20, and this is the April-May edition. It's not great. The reason I've said this is usually 20 over 20 is because I've actually only got 16 over 20 to show you. And some of those 16 are items belonging to myself which I have sold on eBay rather than items that I specifically bought to resell. My eBay's dead in the water. Is anybody, I mean, I know other people experiencing this because I see it on the Facebook groups and on, you know, in YouTube comments and whatever. I know other people experience this. RIP eBay? What on earth is going on? Is it the Vinted effect? I don't know. All I know is I can't shift anything worth shifting. I'm having to drop my prices. I've had to do an awful lot of very, very cheap auctions to clear out some very old stock that just isn't moving. RIP eBay. I'm genuinely considering, after 25 years nearly, genuinely considering that maybe it's time to call it a day. And I have never got to this point before. I've always gone, well, there's ups and downs with eBay, but the poor sales, the high fees, combined with the issues I have working in my new workspace, make me feel like it's just not worth it anymore. So I don't know whether I'm going to continue or not. I don't know whether to run it down, whether to clear out a load of stock. I don't know what to do. But let me show you the 16 sales over £20 I've got for this 2-month period anyway. So I'm recording this towards the end of June. I'm a little bit behind on this, what with going away and having some other commitments and whatever. I'm a little bit behind recording this one. But it is only the April and May period. I haven't put any of the June sales into this one. Although I was tempted, just to make it up to 20 listings, I was tempted to stick some June ones in there and just call it the April, May, June one. But no, I have not done that. It is just April and May. And I know I keep messing my hair. It's because my roots need doing so badly and I can see it shining in the camera. Okay, let's have a look at the 16 that I've managed to sell over £20 in this 2-month period. First up on the screen then is a private listing. Now, private listing always implies something a bit kind of weird, a bit kind of dodgy, but what actually it is when somebody messages me and says, I would like to buy this item and this item and this item, will you do me a price for all of it? And I say, yes, I can do those 3 for 50 quid. And then I just put up a private listing and I put this logo on rather than taking any photos and messing about. So this is a private listing for a buyer and they bought 3 of the Flower Fairy figurines. I had them listed. This will indicate to you how poor things are sales-wise. I had them listed at £24.99 each. And when somebody said to me, would I do all 3 for £50 plus postage, I said yes. That's a big discount. That's you know, buy 2 get 1 free. That's a 33% discount overall. And yeah, I was just glad to have the sale. I think I paid very little for them at the car boot sale. I bought them off Steve, I'm pretty sure, and I think I had 5 or 6 in the box, but several were broken. When I got them home, several of them were already broken. So these were the 3 that didn't have any damage, and they've gone for £50 plus £5 postage. Next up is something that was mine. I bought them, I read them, I passed them to Mum, she read them, and then I bundled them and sold them. So it is 5 Jack Sheffield paperback books. Jack Sheffield, they are semi-autobiographical, so they're based on his own experiences as a school teacher, although names have been changed and some of it veers into fiction somewhere along the lines. So, for example, the bits where he describes conversations that he couldn't possibly have been part of, obviously they veer into fiction. But I think there's 7 or 8 in this series, and we only had 5 of them. We have had the others. I don't know what happened to them, because we've definitely read them all. So I'm not entirely sure what happened to the other ones. But I bundled these 5 together. Now, I bought them all from eBay, Amazon, or We Buy Books, various places, and wouldn't have paid very much for each one. I think I've probably made a small profit on these, and the fact that I've read them and then Mum's read them means that any profit is, and you know, any resale is great on that. I feel like that's all pure profit because I bought them for a purpose, and then if I sell them afterwards, that's pure profit, even though strictly speaking it isn't, is it? Anyway, as you'll notice as well that I've had to really stretch the definition of 20 over 20 because this is £19.99. You're going to have to forgive me for the penny, I'm afraid. Otherwise, this would have been a 2-second video. So there we go. They sold for £19.99 plus postage. And I undercharged on the delivery as well. I only charged £2.75 delivery. I don't know what I was thinking. Don't know what I was doing when I wrote that listing. I expect I did a sell similar on another book and only had £2.75 on the postage. What a wally. This is one of the last bits of the sea salt haul. So I had a huge sea salt haul from a chap at the car boot sale over 2 consecutive weeks running, or a couple of weeks apart maybe, but 2 different visits. I went once he was there, I bought a load. I went another time he was there, I bought another load. So this is, it's running low now, nearly all gone. This is one of the last bits, and it did not go for £24.99. It's a sea salt Cornwall hot pink organic cotton ballet style wrap cardigan, and I listed it at £24.99 plus post, and I accepted a best offer of £22.50 plus postage on this one. Sea salt is still worth picking up if you see it, but it's harder and harder to find at a decent price. The larger sizes are always better. This is a VKK hair straightener brush. These are the things that are all over TikTok. People are using them, and I bought it at the charity shop for £5, and I thought to myself, will I try it myself? And I looked at it and I thought, the size that the prongs are, that's not going to do anything on my hair. So I literally just listed it straight away. It was new and unused in the box. You could see that all the bits were still in their packaging. Nothing had been used and everything. So I listed it at £25.99 based on sold and completed listings. Other people were getting around that price, so I listed it at that. And when I got an offer of £22, I think it was, on this one, I accepted it and was quite pleased. That's not a bad profit from a £5. A Breakburn handbag. I think this came from the car boot sale. I'm fairly sure it did. I wouldn't have paid very much. I usually pay £2 or £3 for handbags at the boot sale, maximum of £5. I wouldn't pay more than a £5 at the boot sale unless it was a really, really blinding bag. So this will have cost me £5 at the most, even though I can't remember the exact amount, and it sold for £25 plus postage. Breakburn is quite a nice brand to pick up, even though they're not a very well known, you know, they're not a very talked about brand, but they're quite popular with the middle-aged ladies like myself. Head gardener and under gardener mug. Now these are pastimes mugs, and I'm blowed if I know where they came from. It's a fairly recent photograph, which means they probably came from the car boot sale. They may have come from Steve's stall on the car boot sale. Looking at them, I'm getting a vague memory that they may have come from Steve's stall, in which case they wouldn't have cost me much. They might have cost me £1 each, and they sold for £24.99 for the pair. And they went at full price. And one of the few things in this video I didn't need to take an offer on. They went full price plus postage. This was mine. Yours clothing, plus size faux fur oversized jacket. It was bought for me, I think, by Natalie a few Christmases ago. And it was a lovely coat, but the sleeves were too short on me. It's got a kind of a balloon sleeve, and they sort of stopped there, and my wrist stuck out, and it looked weird, and it felt weird, and I couldn't get on with it. It was a shame because it was a really nice warm jacket, and I would have loved to be able to wear it for the winter. But yeah, just made for people with short arms apparently. And I listed it, and it sold for £27.99. Plus postage, and I think it didn't cost Nat very much more than that when she bought it, so that's not too bad. The last, I think, of the Wentworth puzzles bundle that I bought. I was at the car boot sale to borrow money off Josh to buy these. I think I paid 90 odd quid for about 15 or 16 puzzles. I can't remember exactly how many. One of you guys will probably remember. Josh will probably remember. He's got a heck of a memory for stuff. And this is one of the last ones, and this one went on a best offer. I listed at £29.99, and I took an offer of £26 for this one. So each of these, I think we worked out at the time that they'd each cost me. Had they each cost me? I don't think they'd cost me as much as a tenner each. I'm sure they hadn't. If they had, then I must have been having a very odd day that day if I paid that much for them. Another item that was my own, these Skechers Uno 2 trainers were mine. I missed this sticky stuff on the table, and I took the normal, I cropped that out. Oh dear, state of these photos. They were mine, and I think I wore them once, and they were too heavy for me. I can't handle a heavy shoe. They're quite a heavy, clunky sole, and I just couldn't get on with them. And they were also too narrow across the instep. I've got a wide flat foot, so they went under the bed, and they sat there for about a year. And I thought, this is silly. I'm not wearing these, so I listed them at £39.99 and took an offer of £30 plus postage on those. Remington Curl Revolution straightener. Now, this one, there's two. There's this one and this next one. There you go. Look, there's the second one. They are the same item, although one has a carrying case and one does not. And I sold one on around about the 17th of May. And then the next day I picked up another one at the car boot, so I listed that and sold that one a couple of weeks later. So this first one with its case went for £25 plus postage. And then this one, it's still with no case, I listed at the same price, and I think that one also went for about £25 plus postage, even though that one didn't have a carry case. So these Curl Revolutions are definitely worth picking up if you see them. Most Remington stuff seems to go quite well, and almost all Babyless stuff seems to go quite well for me. So I do pick up quite a lot of hair bits these days. So those are both car boot pickups, and they won't have cost me very much, a couple of quid, £2 or £3 maybe. I paid £2 for this. At the time that I picked it up, I thought it was a thimble stand. And I always pick up big thimble display stands if I see them, because they always sell. I don't know who it is in 2024 who's collecting thimbles, because your Nana's not anymore, is she? But I picked it up thinking it was a thimble display because I didn't look at it very closely. And then when I got it home and actually glanced at it, I thought, this isn't for thimbles at all. Had a look online. It's a golf ball display stand. I don't know why you would display golf balls. Do people keep their match ball if they win a match? Do they keep their ball or something? I actually don't know. I don't know. I know nothing about golfers. It's not my thing. But this is a golf ball display stand. You can see all the little indentations there where the golf balls sit. And I listed it and it sold really, really quickly. And there's some scratches to the wood, which I made sure I focused on and took photos and mentioned and all the rest of it. But it sold really quickly to somebody in Bristol. I could have delivered it by hand. Annoyingly, it was someone who lived over near my mum, and it sold whilst I was over with my mum one day. And I said to mum, that's annoying, because if it had sold 4 or 5 hours earlier, I'd have brought it with me and delivered it by hand. As it was, I parcelled it up, and it was a bit of a beast to send, because it's quite a large item. It's, I would say that's 2 foot tall, 2 foot by 2 foot, probably, huge. But yeah, that way it went very quickly for £24.99 plus post. Another item that was mine, another pair of shoes from under the bed, another Christmas gift that wasn't any good for me. Natalie bought me these. I think Natalie and Anthony bought them between them, and they are just too narrow. I wore them once. I wore them once. Do you remember when I was doing, if you've been here a while, you might remember I did a January challenge to myself to walk a mile every day in January, which I know doesn't sound a lot to people who walk everywhere normally, but I'm not much of a walker. I've got bad knees, and so I challenged myself a couple of years ago to walk a mile every day in January. And one of those walks I did wearing these, and never again, because I was almost crippled after walking a mile, just 1 mile in these. They had no bend in the instep, so, and I needed a bend. They were too narrow across the toes. Oh, yeah. They had to go on eBay, and they sold for £34.99. They actually sold for their full asking price, £34.99 plus postage. N Anderson Inns of Scotland ladies size 14 tartan skirt. If you ever see tartan skirts or kilts, they always sell. They always sell well. I'm not sure why. I don't know. Do people buy them? I don't know if this was somebody's actual tartan of their clan and that was why they're buying it, or whether they just liked it. Who knows? But I would have picked it up. I think this one came from the Bernardo's charity shop. I remember buying it, and I think I paid about £5. And it's been listed for a while. You can see, actually, start time up there, December 31st, 2023. So it has been listed a while, but it's finally went for £22.99 plus post. I think I lowered the price. I think I had it up at £29.99 for a while, and I lowered it. This was a nice sale. This one made me smile. Harry Potter and the Philosopher's Stone. I can't remember where it came from. Possibly car boot, possibly £1. I remember buying one at the car boot for £1 and one somewhere else. I don't remember where the somewhere else was. Maybe a charity shop. Must have been, really, mustn't it? There's not that many other options. Either way, I didn't pay very much, and I sold it for £45.99 plus postage. It is an early edition, first edition 24th print. So if you had a first edition first print, you would be laughing all the way to the bank. But it is a midway print of the first edition, and it has sold, I said, for £45.99 plus post. Luckily, it had its dust cover, which always helps. And this is the last one. This is the last one of my 16 over 20. It's a sad thing. This is the Jacob Jensen home phone that I bought from the car boot house clearance guy. I think I paid £1. I think I paid £1 for it. I recognised the name Jensen when I saw the box, and I thought I'm going to give that a go. I think it was £1. If you remember differently, do let me know. I could go back through my records, but it's not important enough, is it really? I think it was £1. It might have been a couple of quid, but I don't think it was very much. Maybe 3? 1, 2, 3. Not a lot of money. I remember it being a good price for a nice Danish posh phone, and it sold for £59.99 plus post. And that's it. That would have been 20 over 20 if I could have mustered, next door's dog, if I could have mustered up 20 sales, that would have been 20 over 20. As it is, it's 16 over 20, and that's as good as it gets at the moment. It may pick up. If it doesn't pick up, then we're going to need another plan, aren't we? Going to need a bigger boat. Thank you for joining me for this one. I make these so that it might give people who are reselling different ideas about what they might pick up, or maybe it'll alert you to some brands to look out for. You know, maybe you'll find a Jacob Jensen phone and sell it for 60 quid if you can buy it for £1 or £2 or £3. I hope you've enjoyed it, and I will see you soon. Take care. Bye for now.